Hey, thanks for joining me for my 5th episode of Red Pens and Red Flags. This time I speak with the self-described Make America Great Again, MAGA conservative. He's a high school teacher by the name of Aaron Megrian. He's a no-nonsense take on teaching in today's politically charged educational environment. Aaron is rooted in structure, discipline, and traditional values. He's also critical of what he sees as excessive federal overreach and the politicization of the classroom. He emphasizes the importance of letting teachers teach, upholding an academic rigor, and removing ideological agendas from instruction. However, he contradicts himself regarding indoctrination by being pro-Bible and his Christian values being mandated in public classrooms. While critical of liberal trends, Mr. Megrian expresses hope for the future, especially as he sees more parents becoming active in schools. Wait a minute, more parents active in school? That's fantastic, or possibly delusional. That's my opinion. Since last year, I had 60% of my students' parents not giving two shits about their kids' behavior or performance. 60%. Well, when asked if he considers himself DEI, he wouldn't answer the question. And instead, he said, "I believe in treating all students equally and with respect." Well then, let's give Aaron Megrian the respect of this interview. Welcome to Red Pens and Red Flags, the podcast that's not afraid to grade the current state of American education. My name is Rick Riola, a grad student knee-deep in the world of teaching, technology, and just trying to take care of my voice. These kids are always making me sick. Today, I am joined by Aaron Megrian. Aaron, can you describe your current role in education and how it connects to issues that are going on right now, like the Department of Education, DEI, things like that?
Hey, Rick, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm a math teacher, a high school math teacher here. I think my role here in terms of how it pertains to Department of Education, DEI, things like that, I think our role as educators is to give opportunity to students, make sure every student has equal opportunity, and to make sure that students are learning to think critically and think for themselves. And in terms of like DEI and things like that, I think it's our job to not push a political agenda. It's just our job to teach kids how to think for themselves, think critically. That's kind of what I believe our role here as educators is.
How do you respond when students or parents bring up politically charged topics?
Again, I think it's wrong for us to push political agendas. So what I do is I try to stick to the facts, try to encourage respectful discussion. And I think parents are trusting us to educate, not indoctrinate. So what I try to do is just stick to the facts and let students think for themselves and come to their own conclusions.
By giving back power to the states and how they handle public education, what positives or negatives do you foresee?
Personally, I think it's a big positive. I think local control is better. I think communities know what their students need. I think top-down dictates from Washington aren't the best things for all communities. Like, what does Washington know about what's happening here in my community? But I know that our community members and the parents of these kids and the people here know what's happening here. So I think giving control back to states and allowing us to make decisions is a good thing. You asked about potential negatives. Sure, I can see that there might be inconsistencies between states, but I believe that the competition between the states will lead to innovation and will just further raise the bar.
In your opinion, Aaron, has state-level control historically impacted marginalized communities in education?
Yes and no. I mean, some states have done a great job, others not so much. But I still do believe that local accountability is the best way. That works way better than top-down mandates. When families and communities get involved, the outcomes improve for everyone. And I think we're starting to see that more, that we're having more parents show up to community meetings. We're having more parents get involved in what's happening and what curriculums are being chosen and what decisions are being made about the education. It's not just blind trust from the public of like, oh, the education's going to do the right thing. Now we're having community involvement. And I think that's good. When the community gets involved and helps decisions get made and then puts their input in, I think positive things will happen.
Are you familiar with Project 2025? And if so, what are your initial reactions or concerns?
Am I familiar? Yeah, I am familiar. I believe that streamlining federal government, reducing waste, returning power to states, I think all of these are good overall goals. I think the education system should reflect American values and not be dictated by unelected officials. So, yeah, I do think a lot of the things coming out of it will be good things.
What are your concerns or thoughts regarding the attempted shuttering of the Department of Education? And then think about how this might impact day-to-day work of teachers, paraprofessionals, and admins.
I think this conversation is long overdue. Personally, I believe that the department's become too political, too out of touch with what's really going on in classroom and teachers' lives and students' lives. I also think there's a misconception that getting rid of the department means getting rid of support. That to me, that's not what it means at all. It just means that the sport is shifting closer to home, and the decisions now can be made with more directed. We can direct our decisions to the needs of our community, and they can be made more efficiently.
If you recall, I was unable to input my opinion or challenge my guests during the initial podcast interview process, per my instructor's guidance. However, I'm now free to do so, post-interview. And I want you to hear Aaron Megrian acknowledge that there is bias towards students due to their race and socioeconomic status, but he chooses not to challenge it. Assimilation is expected, and equity is inconvenient for the greater community. Give me the ball. All right, let's go. Do you believe all students, regardless of race, income, zip code, will receive the same quality of education if states hold more power? You mentioned earlier that by giving states their power in education, there could be some kind of a competition. How did that go back during the Jim Crow era?
Well, Rick, I can't really speak to the Jim Crow era, but what I can see is that, no, I don't think all students, regardless of race, income, zip code, will necessarily be treated the same, but I do believe they will be treated more aligned with their community's needs. And to me, that's what I believe is important. We should focus on raising the expectations and empowering families. This is not a one-size-fits-all program in this nation. This nation is huge, and every community has different needs, different values, and the education within those communities should reflect that. So giving us the power to make choices more locally will allow the education to be more reflective of each community's needs.
What do DEI practices look like in your current educational environment? For example, what were your district's related practices before the election? Have you noticed any changes? Do you see it changing in the next year?
Well, in terms of our district-related practices before the election, we did get some notifications about how to treat the situation and how to create a safe environment. To me, that was all fluff. Like, my job as a teacher is to always make sure that students feel welcome. And I think that in terms of like DEI and creating an educational environment, that's my job. Make all students feel welcome. And that's good, you know? But now this catchphrase of DEI, and it's become so political, and it's about, I think it's more about like, it's dividing people into different groups, and it's pushing identity politics. And I want to see this shift back towards fairness, towards merit, towards individual responsibility and discipline. Those are things that I welcome.
Do you consider yourself DEI?
Again, I believe in treating all students equally and with respect. If DEI means prioritizing some groups over others or pushing a political agenda, then no, I don't agree with that. What I agree with is treating students equally and with respect.
Do you think students getting assistance like ELD or who are in IEPs, do you think they are at greater risk right now than what they were a year ago?
Do those students need support? Yeah, absolutely. But the risk comes from bureaucracy, not from conservative policies. We need to fund classrooms, not administrative overhead. Those students can thrive if teachers are empowered and parents are involved. And by giving power back to the states, we will have more of that. We will empower more teachers, and we will have more parent involvement.
What kind of support do teachers like you need most right now?
First and foremost, I think we need discipline. Discipline, structure, respect. We know in the past that's where students thrive most. And that's what I think we've lost a lot in the last 10 or 15 years. Teachers need support from administrators and parents, and students need clear expectations so that there can be a focus on academics, not activism.
What gives you hope right now in this moment in our country?
I have a lot of hope. I see parents getting more involved. I see people waking up to the problems of our system. I see there's this renewed interest in traditional values and accountability. This gives me great hope. I think when we get back to the values that we lived by and were foundational to our communities when this country was great, we can make it be great again.
Some states are indoctrinating children to Christianity, like Oklahoma. For example, Bibles are being put in every single classroom. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think schools that teach people good values, teach students how to be good, moral, upstanding students, that teach students how to work hard and think for themselves. I think using curriculum that teaches those things is good, whatever curriculum it is. I think those are good things.
And now for my last question. If you could send a message to the Trump administration making decisions about the future of education, what would you want him to hear?
Stay the course. Keep fighting for school choice. Keep fighting for parental rights. Get politics out of the classroom. Let we teachers teach. Let us not push ideology. We need education grounded in excellence and American values.
Well, thank you very much for participating with this podcast.
You're welcome, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Red Pens and Red Flags. This podcast series samples multiple public education professionals from different roles in schools. This includes teachers, administrators, special education, paraprofessionals, and language specialists.